Okay, hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about national service. So national service deferment specifically for our athletes. And so it's nothing like mind-blowing, not life-changing, and it's not going to change the world or anything. But I think at the end of the day, if I can come out from here and I have 15 more people who support our athletes, then I think we'll accomplish what we want to do. Okay, so quickly I just want to show you guys a video.
Body and whether or not he can mow down a man that's 10 years younger than him.
And is still schooling. He's transferred the form that he showed in the heats into the semi-final and into the final, and he's a body length clear almost. Can he hold on? We were hoping to see history in the pool, but we are history because Singapore has won an Olympic gold medal and an Olympic record time.
Okay, so like cliche, right? Like you've watched this a million times. It was shoved into your face, especially after he won like every single advertisement, every single bus ad, every company was suddenly a supporter of national athletes, right? But the reason why I want to talk to you guys today, right, is actually because this is the exception rather than the rule. And actually not everybody, even with his victory, right, was happy with what was happening. And that is because when it comes to national service deferment, right, the question always comes back to this, why does somebody like schooling get to pursue his dreams when other people don't, right? Because I have to put my uni dreams, my career dreams, whatever, I have to put it on national service for 2 years, right? And he just gets to do whatever he wants and succeed, and he takes all the glory, and I'm over there slogging in the jungle, right? And it comes to the bigger question of why should any person, other way, you got this, okay, thanks. Why should any person be granted deferment from national service? Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you go to the next slide, right, like all of us are asked the same thing, right? So you all know the concept, I think including the girls, you take whatever you have, you lay it on the altar of national service, your glory, your vanity, your higher education, your uni or whatever, right? And you do it, why? Because it's for the greater good, right? So how come somebody gets to do it while we don't? And I think the answer really lays in this, because at the end of the day, right, Joseph Schooling was not fulfilling his dream. He was fulfilling our dream. What he was doing was so much bigger than one person. What he was doing was for the national identity, that emotion, that feeling of a galvanized nation, that moment when for once we realized we accomplished something, you know what I mean? Like as Singapore, we're like this half-baked, like kind of their nation, right? And I want to point to what the commentator said. No. To what the commentator said. He didn't say Joseph Schooling has won. He said Singapore has won. And that's the power of sport. That's the unifying effect that happens with sport. And that's why, right, we believe you should give someone like him space, even though the rest of us have to sacrifice it. And if there's one thought that I want you guys to take away from today, right, it's really that we cannot create a strong sporting culture without loosening our deferment policies. Because it's not the same as I stop studying for 2 years, okay, then I come back to uni, I do special term or whatever, I try to get my life back in shape, right? And I can do that fine. Most of us are okay with that. It's not the same with sport. You can't just stop training for 2 years. You can't pour your physical strength into something else and like even get injured or whatever, right? And you go back to sport and you expect to still be an Olympic champion. That's not how it works. Yeah, and sadly, right, if we don't make our policies more flexible, we will lose out on many opportunities. Yeah, as Sandeep's going to tell you more. Thanks, Sandeep.
Okay, so I'm sure that all of us know who Joseph Schooling is. But you see this man on the screen, how many of you actually recognize him? Okay, only a handful of you, so the rest of you
nice.
don't know. So let me tell you a bit more about this man. So this man's name is Ang Peng Siong. And at one point of time, he was known as Singapore's flying fish. Why is this so? It's because he was a very well-recognized swimmer. He won dozens of gold and silver medals in regional as well as international competitions. At one point of time, he was also awarded the title of World's Best Swimmer for breaking records in the 50-meter freestyle category. And he was slowly inching his way closer to clinching an Olympic gold medal. But in 1986, when he was nearing his peak of his performance, he actually enlisted into national service. Next. Yeah, so a lot of us would know the hardships that come along with national service. The training is really tough. I'm sure most of you would understand. And it takes its toll on the body. So the same thing happened with Ang Peng Siong actually. During his training, there was one point of time where he came down with heat exhaustion, and another incident where he actually collapsed from pneumonia and had to be hospitalized. So the training really took a toll on his physical body, even someone as fit as him. And it was at this point of time where he actually got an opportunity to compete in the 1988 Olympics. So after great difficulty, he applied for a deferment, and there had to be an appeal from him. But it was finally granted, only a short 6-month period. So during these 6 months, he went to the United States for an intensive training program. Yeah, there he worked really hard. He trained to the best of his ability. He went for the Olympics, and in the qualifying rounds, he came in 9th. For those of you who don't know, that's just one place away from the finals. It was just a mere 0.04 seconds which separated him from his dreams. Yeah. So it's hard for us to really understand how it feels. And this pain is really something that broke him and has stuck with him till this day.
Winning that gold medal has always been something that, personally I wanted for Singapore. And I think
I'm sure you can really see the pain in his eyes. So he worked so hard his whole life. He dedicated all those hours, but in the end, he missed it by that much. All his hopes to carry our dreams on his shoulders were just lost because of his lack of time to train. So people often ask, why deferment? Why is this 2 years so important to athletes? And there are 2 reasons. Firstly, it's because of athletes' strict training regime. So they actually have very intensive training. So they train almost every day for the entire week and for very long hours each day. And their training is planned far ahead, months or even a year ahead, such that they can peak exactly during competition period. So the second reason is because of limited career span. Existing research shows that athletes actually have a limited time span in which they can peak their performance. For explosive sports, this tends to be around their 20s, while for endurance sports, it can go up to 39 or before 39. So you can see that our current policy actually disadvantages our athletes compared to those of our competitors from other nations, because it doesn't give us the opportunity to plan our training. They have a very high chance of their training being disrupted midway in order for them to go for national service, and deferment is rarely awarded. So this puts us at a disadvantage compared to others. But it doesn't really have to stay this way, because there are viable alternatives to our current policy.
Okay, let's just come back and examine how can we improve our current deferment policy. Our current deferment policy examines applications based on a case-by-case basis, and is dependent on their medal prospects in the Olympics. So there are 2 problems with such a policy, and its criteria and its partiality. So firstly, criteria. When we base our criterion on medal prospects, we are focusing mainly on the winning perspective. And that is a problem. If we compare this with what the Olympic Creed is advocating, that participating in Olympic Games is much more important than winning, and that it's just the more important thing in life is not about the triumph, but the struggle. Hence, when we come and think about the criterion, it's essentially going against what the Olympic Creed is trying to promote. And Olympic is one of the most prestigious games in the world. And therefore, this criterion is essentially going, we are going to give the wrong information and message to the younger generation. Secondly, partiality. Currently, Joseph Schooling and Quatermain both got their application approved. But we need to think of the possible situations in the future whereby only a handful of the applicants got then approved, but the others got denied. In such a situations, would there be criticisms of favoritism? Imagine if you were the one getting denied the application. Would you feel that the process is fair or biased? The problems with criterion and partiality can be seen in this cartoon, whereby the climbing of the tree can be seen as a criterion, whereby the animals are the applicants. Do you think that climbing the tree is a fair criterion in this case? The monkey, among all the animals, were likely to climb the tree much better than the rest of the animals, because it has the inherent capability to do so. Just like all the animals, we humans are also born with different abilities. Hence, some of the male national athletes just cannot get into the Olympics, and that is just the harsh reality. But does that mean that we deny them the deferment based on the current measures and criteria, and that we deny them the chance to participate in smaller competitions such as the SEA Games and Commonwealth Games? To many of these athletes, participating and representing Singapore in such games give them are limited and are often treasured by them. Hence, what we propose is to allow all male national athletes to choose when they wish to fulfill NS duty between the age of 18 to 35. Such a policy gives them far more flexibility in controlling when they wish to fulfill their national duty, and also balance out with their own personal development. This gives them time to pursue overseas opportunities as well, and have their prime years dedicated to develop their skill sets. We do note that such a policy is not in the best interest of these athletes, because they still need to give up 2 years of the time to serve the nation. But this this policy that we are advocating gives them far more flexibility as compared to the current one. In conclusion, extending deferment is just one way that we can support our national athletes. Deferring their NS is a privilege that we are giving to the national athletes, but then it is our duty to support our own national athletes and our own fellow countrymen. Thank you.